Welcome, welcome everybody. This is Bisu Dagger on the microphone, and we are going to be watching Bisu versus ForGG in the Sky 2006 Pro League round of 2. The map is going to be Longinus, and it is a PvT. So get excited as we watch ForGG, a solid Terran player, play against the might of Bisu. This is still pre any of his gold medals. He has not won any of them yet. But Bisu's still a good player. He has earned quite a bit of a better name here. And it will be quite exciting to see how his Terran versus Protoss does match up. So I welcome all of you as you come in to watch this historic game with me. And look how much his hair has changed. If you have watched any of the games earlier that I have casted, then you saw his 2005 hair. But once you reach stardom and your fangirl page exceeds 1 million female subscribers, then pretty much your hair goes into this Super Saiyan mode. And just you gotta go to another level. And that's why Bisu looks so gloriously handsome the way he does there. So it looks like Longinus. Bisu will be spawning at the 3 o'clock position. Meanwhile, our Terran opponent, ForGG, boo, is spawning at the bottom at the 6 o'clock. And I know you guys heard me just give a little bit of a boo to ForGG. Is it because he's Terran? Maybe. Is it because he's not on Bisu's team? That's possibly. Or is it just because I am just that big of a Bisu fan that I am going to be biased every time I cast his games? That's a definite. So let me give you some stats here. This map, Longinus, is a 3-player map. It has spawns at the 3, 7, and 11. So I guess that puts ForGG at the 7 o'clock position. So excuse me from earlier. And then this is 23 and 18 record in the Protoss favor with a 56.1% win rate. Now TVZ is just on another level. Terran wins 68% of the time, which is just unheard of stats. So I'm sure that Zerg players absolutely hate this map. I could get an earful from them if I looked in the chat. And so we're going to have to see how PvT plays out. 56% is still pretty heavily in the favor of Protoss. Now, as far as Bisu being relatively unknown before the Savior matches, I would say that he was just another player on the team. He wasn't a standoutish. He wasn't necessarily, an ace player for NBC Game or Pirates of Space or whatever name team he was on beforehand. But he did reach his fame once he defeated Savior. But it's not like he was bad or anything. He had a lot of really good matches and defeated a lot of really good opponents early on beforehand. So it wasn't like surprising when he won. Everybody thought, wow, he's really good as he was playing throughout that tournament. So Bisu has two gateways inside of his main base. And it looks like this is a map where you do want to stay on one base for a little bit against Terran. And, taking a natural pretty quickly is something that I feel like would be really bold and stupid. But that's okay, because PvT and all maps of the future generally are one-base Protoss until they can apply pressure onto that natural base of the Terran with the ranged Dragoons. Lay siege on that bunker. But ForGG moving out with his Marines, and now he is putting that bunker outside the natural base. So this is a pretty typical opening for Terran 2, going for that bunker expand. Meanwhile, pushing the barracks out at the front too, and I wonder if he's just going to try and float it over around the barracks, the bunker area, because there's no point. Well, I guess there's a point in landing. I don't know. The thing is, the Dragoons with their range are going to easily be able to put a bunch of shots off on that barracks. And so eventually he's going to have to lift it if he decides not to try and hit the bunker from a far distance. And if these SCVs come to repair the barracks, they're going to be in range of these Dragoons, while the bunker may not be able to defend it. So a lot of early decision making from ForGG here to put that barracks down. But the tank is out, and the tanks have ridiculously good range, even when they're not in siege mode. So that's really good for them. But Bisu, how is he going to transition out of this? Robotics facility coming down, so he could be going for that Reaver attack. And it could be Reaver. He could just be going for the shuttle early on so he could elevator his units. But an SCV does make it in there. And now ForGG knows. He sees the robotics facility and he can immediately respond by getting turrets or building an armory so that way he can defend with Goliaths. But as you see, the engineering bay does drop down at the natural base along with the command center, which is going up a little bit later. And that's why the tank actually came out so fast. I was really surprised because usually when you go for that bunker expand, you have to wait a little bit longer to get that siege tank out. And but the siege tank was available. It was basically a siege expand when you think about it, because he got that gas before the command center, and he just put the barracks up. It's like a combination, a hybrid. Let's just call it that and leave it as it is. So a robotics support bay is finished up, which is going to allow the Reaver to pump out, and the shuttle drop will be coming very soon. I'm curious to see if Bisu is going to wait for speed on his shuttle first, though, so he could maybe just suicide his shuttle and add the chance of destroying a bunch of SCVs with that one murderous shot of the Scarab. And those Dragoons do pick off another SCV. The SCV scout now, you almost want to take your scout as a Terran player and not go to the direct route to your opponent, especially since he already saw that there was a robotics facility in there, and he can guess that a Reaver might be coming. And what you want to do with that additional SCV is just scout the odd places on the map. Try and see if there's hidden pylons, if there's a nexus and a strange location that may be getting away with free mining here. And 3, 4, 5. Wow, okay, a bunch of turret shots directly on top of the shuttle right there. And that Reaver taking shots on the supply depot is not the best use of the Scarabs. And that Zealot does come out first, so being very strategic here, it does take shots on top of the tank, but Bisu's drop was just less than spectacular. He does end up having to pull his shuttle back, and nothing really got done here. So ForGG bringing his tanks into a great spot here as he defends inside of his main base. So another drop, though. There is so much surface area that you'd have to defend with turrets. This is very crazy. Maybe that's why Terran has such a hard time defending against Protoss. Even when they know that drops are coming, there's not enough defending. Oh, one of the turret shots does go off again on top of that shuttle, and Bisu does not find a weak link in ForGG's armor. He was able to put his units in a perfect place to defend. So very well done by the Terran player again, as Bisu tries to expand now, take his natural into full force, and get into a 2-base position where he can start battling his Terran opponent. The economy is going really good for ForGG right now, because hardly any SCVs were lost, except for a few of the scouting ones, of course. I think that this factory amount is going to easily overwhelm Bisu's army, unless Bisu can start getting some harass damage done. It's just a matter of how late his natural was. That Marine is being very annoying. No, I'm reading that it looks like he double expanded, but did he take that third base? I didn't know if that was a nexus there. They haven't shown it a second time. And this is from 2060. If you guys are just joining in, it is December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas, in the one of the Pro Leagues, the Sky Pro League. And a fun fact is that Pro League has always led with a sponsor that has an S name. Shinin Pro League, Sonic Pro League, Sky Pro League. I just think it's so fitting that we have been able to use SPL for nearly a decade now. I'm not sure if there's been a Pro League with a different name besides an S. I can't remember. But ForGG, he has a ton of factories inside of his main base. and tons of macro coming down right now. All he has to do is completely push into this army supply, which is looking like it's going to be greater than Bisu's. There's no way these goons are going to be strong enough, and it's going to come down to some really cool micro. Our Spider Mine's going to get dropped down next to the Dragoons, and it looks like ForGG not even bothering to hit the I key, so no Spider Mines are going to be put down. So it looks like KT Pro League was there before Sky Pro League. But, you know, I think we all just forget anything pre-Sky because Bisu didn't play in the pre-Sky leagues. And so Pro League really didn't, like, exist until Bisu existed. Does that make any sense? So that'll just kind of cue you guys in a little bit more here on the history of Brood War. So Zealots are coming in here. And Zealot drops from this shuttle could be pretty useful. But ForGG doing a great job of moving out with turrets, finding a good spot on the map where he can kind of hold himself as he slowly does a crawling push across the map towards Bisu's base. And ForGG is just being so careful here. It's actually giving Bisu a lot of time to build up army supply where he otherwise did not have much army. And I think if ForGG had just A-moved, it would have been instantly over. But now, because he was being so careful, and Bisu actually did take that third base, the Nexus finally finished, but it's not mining, so it's not widely considered a third base at this point until some probes can get transferred over there. Otherwise, it's just a stupid Nexus not getting anything done. And it looks like a lot of Spider Mines are coming in at the natural base to pick off any units as the Vultures try and pick off a whole bunch of probes at the same time here. And that is a ton of workers that got picked off. So great move by ForGG to move in with his harassing units. But it's going to leave a lot of his main army exposed. Oh my goodness, but Bisu, he has no way to deal with the probes inside his main. But two Reavers drop, and the Reavers are getting taken out immediately by these siege tanks. Only half the siege line was cleaned up. It looks like the right side of these this Terran mech army is going to still be alive, and there's no more units mining for Bisu. He's been completely cleaned out in that third base. Oh, it's done. GG. And Bisu loses this PvT against ForGG. Solid game by him, and that's going to be the end of this game. So welcome, thank you for listening, and stay tuned for another game as I transition into some more StarCraft with Bisu.
차라리 그때 로보틱스에서 로보틱 서포 도메인을 올리지 않은 상황에서